everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Black Tea. Of course, this is a podcast that's all about Black women in advertising. I am your host, as usual, Michelle Lawrence, here today with Candice Drakeford. Hi, Candice.
Hi,
Please tell people what you do and where you're based.
I'm Candice, as Michelle just said. I am based in Los Angeles, and I'm currently a creative director at ObsidianWorks.
Okay, cool. So I'm curious, how did you find advertising? What was your origin story for getting into it?
Oh, it's an ugly one. I kind of fell into it. Went to undergrad to study graphic design. Um, Had a great time my freshman year and ended up kind of having to go back home and recalibrate. Applied to a graphic design program at VCU in Virginia. Didn't get in, and I had someone there tell me, "Well, have you looked into advertising?" It's a little bit across, specifically as an art director, a little bit of a cross reference between graphic designer and a little bit of a strategic thinking. I was like, that sounds interesting enough, sold. So that was really that's the short abridged version of kind of how I fell into advertising. But there was a couple other schools involved in there. It was a little bounce
Okay.
situation.
No, that's cool. I mean, it's good that you found out as early about it as early as you did, because a lot of folks go on a lot of other exploratory journeys on how to use their art and don't know that this is an option. So that's great that you found out about that. And then you answered my other question was, were you art or copy? But I'm guessing art direction
Art
background.
director, yeah.
So I want to start by talking about your work. What is your favorite project that you've worked on or campaign that you've worked on to date? Project that you're most proud of, that sort of thing. What's something you're going to cherish for the rest of time?
I think right now it's probably something that was fairly recent, and it's really because of what happened on set.
Mhm.
Recently did a campaign for Frito-Lay. And one of our talents was actually a celebrity tattoo artist at a Bang Bang Tattoo in New York. Her name's Michelle Santana. So she was one of our talent, came on set. She did her shots, and then after she finished, she just kind of was like, "Hey, I don't really remember how the conversation came about, but it was essentially like, hey, I've got my stuff with me. So if you guys want to do like some flash tattoos, we'll do it." So
Well,
before, when all was said and done, my clients are getting tattoos on set of the tagline from the campaign. I got a tattoo. Some of the other talent got tattooed. Like it was
is
just
yours also of the tagline to the
no, I just
campaign?
got Virginia like on my hand because I was like, this is so much pressure. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do. Let's just get where I'm from, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so she pretty much just stayed and hung out, chatted us up, and was tattooed until she ran out of needles. It was fantastic. So that's probably it's not even like related to the work, but like that was my crowning moment as as a creative in this
I
industry.
mean, it says something about your idea if your clients like it enough to etch it
Yeah, they
on.
were just like, yeah, we'll put
So,
it on. I was like, that, y'all, that's a little too committed, but I love that you love it. And so they all got these little My Joy tattoos. And it's like, it could have a little bit of a double meaning, but like, it was very much in the moment. I was like, y'all really,
okay. Yeah, it's
that's
not
crazy.
like
Y'all are really getting this.
it's not anything like a little bit salty, a
No,
little
it wasn't. Yeah.
bit like,
Everybody
um,
had their own meaning for why they were getting it. I was like, all right, cool.
it sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like it was a joy to make. So that's good. I'm wondering now, sort of what draws you in about the advertising industry. I know that you kind of got into it any kind of way, but like you are still in it. So I'm curious, what is keeping you in it? What keeps you coming back, essentially? And then what about it do you feel like pushes you away?
I think what keeps me here is that on any given day, I could be doing any giving thing. Like I could be getting a tattoo on set, but I could also be working on an insurance brand. Like, right? Like it's that swing between the different extremes of what I could be doing throughout the day, I think is what keeps me here. Cause like I'm very much someone that unfortunately loves chaos. So that chaotic swing between the different things that I could be doing or experiences or getting to dive into, I think is what keeps it interesting for me, vice, just sitting at a desk and doing the same mundane tasks that become redundant. Like I can't do that. I realistically cannot do that.
Mhm.
And then the things that kind of push me out, it's the politics, but that's anything that any job that you take, there's going to be a little bit of that, whether that's internally or even externally with clients. Like nobody likes to play that game, but we play it. So I wouldn't say it pushes me out, but it's also like I could do without it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, there's some people who like are in it to do that. And I'm like, that's great. Couldn't be me. But I'm happy for you in your role. Like some people do relish that, which is crazy to me. But I think you said that you're a fan of chaos. And I feel like I like to think of it as like variety. You know what I
We'll
mean?
go with that.
It's like,
That sounds so much better.
well, it is because it's like chaos is like, all right, now
Yeah. I'm
hold
very much like,
on.
hold on. It's too much. If I'm saying
Yeah,
it's too
that
much,
would be like, oh, one day you could be sweeping the floors, and then the next day you would have to be like holding the building walls up because they're gonna fall in literally. And then the
that's too
next day,
much.
like it's not chaos, but like you want to be doing different stuff. You want to be using different parts of your brain. You want to have more fun.
I wouldn't say that like a draw inspiration from smell or anything right now, but like it definitely and it can either enhance or like totally ruin like you said those juices flowing for me.
Yeah.
Like it the space has to be right, the mood has to be right, and like smells can definitely affect that for me.
Okay. It's very visceral.
Sight that was recently interesting. So I live in Inglewood.
Hmm.
I'm like in the flight path
Mm.
where the planes are coming into like LAX. I always like to, especially like when I'm walking with people that have never really been to my house or like they're just hanging out when I go out and walk my dog. I always like to point out that like you can see the planes like lining up to like come in.
Yeah.
The other day, they were there, but then there was like one that was just quite off center enough. And my friend goes, I want to be that plane. And I'm like, wait a minute. What in what world? Like, she was like, it's like you know that they have a pattern, but for whatever reason, it's fine for that plane to be okay. And like we just ended up having like this conversation about like when it's okay to break the rules. We both kind of landed on like, I don't know that we want pilots breaking the rules, but like it was just like this thing of like, yeah, it's probably fine, but like there are things in place. So like I think that like just a roundabout way of getting to like in terms of like creativity and
Yeah.
us like really knowing our rules and our boundaries and what the things are, and then knowing when to be that one little plane that's just kind of hanging out over
In
here.
its own little flight path.
It's probably fine, but like maybe not.
We don't want to be our own creatively our own air traffic control. You know what I mean?
So
Like
you're running
if
into
they need to
stuff.
pull us back, they can pull us back or whatever, but we
For
shouldn't
sure.
be pulling ourselves back. So swerve, swerve,
I'm
and
up here
they gotta
doing,
fix it.
I don't know
Yeah.
what a donut in the sky looks like, but we'll say I'm up here doing donuts in the sky. Like that's probably not good for anybody.
Yeah, no. It's not the perfect metaphor, but whatever. It inspired you.
I have a dog. I mean, like I always like get up and go pet her. She's
Little
always
snuggles, whatever,
down for that.
she
Yeah.
knows.
I mean, like she's getting old, so like when I'm up late working, she's just like, all right, girl, I'm out. But I like to like in between meetings, I definitely get up and go like, hey, how are we doing? Just that little grounding moment I think is important. Whether that be for inspiration or just that breaking the day, specifically like between meetings and stuff like that. I think that's really important for people to do. So that may be a dog, a blanket, hop under the blanket if you need to, whatever that is.
Okay, so we got hear and taste left.
Oh my gosh. Here I'm gonna go with obviously just music. I really like from an inspiration standpoint, I really like that we're getting back to, or at least it feels like the larger group of people are circling back to like listening sessions right now, which I
Hmm.
think is super cool. Like I'm starting to see a lot more pop-ups of like those brick and mortar like vinyl listening bar type things that are really
Yeah.
just centered around going to sit down and like listen and take in music.
Yeah.
Um, and even that's like starting to happen like within like the digital space too, right? Like you have the what's the name of that account? Black House Radio. It's basically like they just bring a bunch of friends into like this apartment and like somebody comes in and spins some house music for a couple hours and they're just like live streaming it. So you're just like dropped into this
Yeah.
apartment living room while somebody's live DJing and the friends are just like mixing and mingling. So
Ooh,
to me, it's just like, again, like circling back to like the thought of just like listening, like sitting and actually consuming music. I
mhm.
think with, with platforms like a Spotify or Apple Music and stuff like that, we just put our music on now and we just
And
go
do
out
other
into the world and
things,
go out into
right?
the day, and we're doing all the other things while music just happens to be in the background. But I think we're getting back to a place where there's a lot more intent to actually listen to music. Like we're sitting, like it's a thing, it's an activity where we're sitting down specifically to do that one thing, which I think is really nice. As I always have music playing in the background, like when I'm like really getting into the
What's the
zone.
last one? Taste. What have
Taste.
you eaten that's just been like, ooh, damn.
Um,
Or drank or
yeah, I've been like, and I think this happens every summer now that I'm thinking about it. Every summer I end up somehow like living off of like chips and salsa and like margaritas like that.
okay.
I
Okay.
don't know why, but like that fills me up. And it's not just like from like a hunger standpoint, but
Yeah.
like that just it feels like it feeds my
That
soul.
feels summer to
For
you.
what I don't know what that's
Yeah.
about, but like I feel full once
Yeah.
I, sat down. And it's probably because I'm usually doing it with friends, but like once I've sat down, had the chips and sauce, I had the margarita, like yes, I can do anything in the world now to include my job. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that's definitely something that helps to feed that need, I'll say.
Great. Okay, so speaking of things that you do just to, you know, put some stuff back in, because the job can take a lot. You're into scuba diving, and I'm
Yes.
curious, and you said you've even launched a dive community to like broaden the culture's access to it. What about scuba diving pulls you in? How did you get into that?
It was really just something I always wanted to do. And then when I took the class, like just to get my initial certification,
Mhm.
it's like, oh hell yeah, this is it. Like, and like not a lot of people get to see what is happening, under there. And I'm one of the fortunate people that does. And because I've been able to travel the world and do that and take photos and experience, different wildlife and scenarios and all that stuff, I'm like, I think I got to a point where it's like everybody else should see this.
Yeah.
And then looking at like how expensive it is like crazy. So that, that creates a little bit of a barrier. And when I am traveling, whether I'm halfway across the world, or even here in LA, a lot of times, there isn't a whole lot of us, specifically Black people or even women or even Black women. There isn't a lot, right? In participating in that. And me being the selfish person that I am was like, I want to dive with people that look like me. So I'm going to figure out how to get people to look like me to dive.
It takes an annoying level of modesty to make to make a community program that you founded
Yeah.
sound like a selfish act instead of being like,
Because that was really it. It was like, bro, like I'm tired of getting on the boats and like I'm the darkest thing on it. And I'm not even that dark.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
that's crazy. And
yeah,
then most of the time it's men. And it's like, I just
yeah,
want to dive with the girl. Like, imagine getting on the boat
yeah,
and coming up out the water with the girlie. Like, I want
yeah.
that for me.
That would
So
be amazing.
I'm gonna go become an instructor, and then I'm gonna
Okay,
teach.
so it's
But
selfish. If people happen to benefit on the way, then
on the
that
way, that's fine. But like, it was very selfish.
to be
Uh,
clear.
yeah, I mean, it was, and like now that I'm actually in, I'm like, oh, somebody should have been doing this already, right? Like, and so now it's evolved beyond the selfish want to like, wow, you guys really need to see this, or like people really need to get into this, and how can I help that? Whether it's through, teaching the actual classes, like learning from somebody that looks like you can identify with, like that makes it infinitely easier. And then obviously removing a little bit of that barrier, specifically like the financial barrier to get in,
Mhm.
even better. So like it's become a little bit more than like my own selfish need, but like truthfully, that's what it was starting out.
Okay. What is a goal or an ambition for you that has not happened yet? Something that's still out there that you're reaching for?
Me personally, like if I'm talking like very specific goal that I have is I want to direct a music video. Like
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
that's my thing. Whether that's for a client or an outside project, whatever that is, that's I want to direct a music video.
Hmm.
I grew up in the time of the 106 and Parks, the TRLs,
Yeah.
the pop-up video, or they're showing the random facts on the video throughout it. Like that to me is like the dream that I'm chasing. That's very much my jam.
Yeah. Well, let's put it out there. Thank you so much for coming on, Candice. I appreciate it. Love just vibing out with you on some creative, dorky stuff. So appreciate you joining.
Thank you.
And everybody out there, thank you so much for watching this episode of Black Tea. Go to musebycleo.com/category/Black Tea to find the rest of our episodes, and also follow us on Instagram @SipBlackTea. And we will see y'all on the next one. Bye.